Hello everyone and welcome back to Talking Tea with Aneuryn here on AneurynPlays. Today we're going to sit down, we're going to have a chat, we're going to have ourselves a lovely cup of tea. So, YouTube, what do you want to talk about? Oh my goodness, what a day. It's only just begun for me. It's like midday. I only woke up like 45 minutes ago. How are you guys doing? What have you been up to? What are you doing this this fine day? This fine wherever you are. For me, it's like I said, midday. But it's a cold and wet midday today. I kind of like it. I kind of I can get behind this, you know. I hate how we don't have the clip function anymore. Wait, really? Clip function's gone? Are you for real? I've not even noticed that. I didn't realize. Oh my goodness, yeah, you're right. Oh, that is so strange. Okay. Hang on, let me double check, see if there's anything that I've done by mistake. Maybe I turned it off on the channel or something. It doesn't look like. YouTube got rid of it in April? Oh, wow. Okay. That's really weird because I've still got the question in... So I'm just taking a look now. Oh, no, the question's gone too. I was going to say, I still had the question for remixes. Oh, no, shorts remixing. There we go. Let others create shorts using contents from the stream. Yeah. It's still there. It's just they've changed it now. So the thing is, you can't make a short while the stream is live, but when the stream is over, once it's a VOD, you can make your own clips out of it. It's still an option. It's still there. Yeah, the clipping function, like Kiko says, I wasn't really a big fan of it anyway, because of the way it worked. It meant that if someone made a clip of a stream and then you edit down the stream, the clip would be wrong. It would be incorrect. Because, like, if you've got... See, what I like to do is I go in and I cut the opening segment out of my streams. I haven't done it in a while. I've been meaning to catch up, and that's something I'll do next week. But, yeah, if you make a clip while I'm live before I've edited the opening segment out, when I do eventually edit the video, it'll be in the wrong place. That was something we discovered with Mary, because Mary used to make a lot of clips on this channel. And as soon as I edited my streams to be shorter, to cut out some segments, to cut out the opening and stuff like that, her edits were or her clips were from the wrong segments of the stream. So clips weren't very good from the beginning. They should have been their own video, but it does appear now that you can use remixing instead. So it's the same as clipping. It's just it saves it as a short instead of saving it as just a segment of the stream. So it's actually probably better now. But you can only remix something after the stream is over. Okay, well that's interesting. I was telling Toshi I'd call us the Follow Friday Fellowship. I know Spaceys will hate it, but I hope you like it. I can't say it's my favorite thing in the world. Now, despite the fact that we obviously chat a lot on X, Spaceys and I don't really know each other outside of social media. Sorry, I'm just sorting out my tea. I haven't actually poured my tea yet. But yeah, I mean, it's not like a bad thing. I'm not suggesting that that Spaceys and I secretly hate each other or something. But it's, yeah, we're online friends, you know. And I hope that I hope I'm not saying anything that offends, because I mean, it's not my intention, obviously. I used to assume you actually did. What, hate Spaceys? Or know him? Nothing wrong with being acquaintances. Exactly. Yeah. I think, while I am an advocate for online, well, I say online relationships, some of my closest friendships have been online only, but I will still say that it takes a long time for me to say, hey, this person is a friend, you know? If it's someone I know in real life, then they're a friend, you know? But if it's someone I've never met, or someone I don't necessarily, haven't really talked to much, then acquaintance is probably the correct word. Yeah. Oh, no. I'm not going to explain how big Australia is. So I'm still trying to get my teapot. Hang on. Be meaning to buy a proper tea cozy. At the moment, I've just got a towel. I just got my teapot wrapped up in a towel. Alrighty, that is one big cup of tea. That is one big hot cup of tea. Very hot. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an issue. If you want to call us the Follow Friday Fellowship, I like to call our community, the virtual fantastic. Yeah. One day I'll finally figure out how to crochet and I'll make you a Pac-Man tea cozy. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I was thinking of just going down to, there's a couple of places where you can go where they just do, like, crafts and things. And, sorry, just double checking my door's closed. Yeah, there was a place that, that they do, like, crafts and things. It's kind of like a little market. There was one local to here, but I haven't seen it. I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know if it's still there. But yeah, I was just thinking of just doing a little, you know, explore, discover, see if there's any little markets around, and see if they got any crafts and things, and maybe get a tea cozy, a nice big fluffy one to keep all the heat in. Of course, Aneuryn likes cold, wet weather. He's British. Exactly. Exactly. It's exactly right. I like it because it means that, well, I mean, I was about to say that one of the reasons I like cold weather is, like, you can dress up. You know, it's very difficult to want to dress super tidy when the temperature is above 30 degrees Celsius, right? You just don't want to dress tidy. You don't want too many layers, you know? You don't want to wear a hoodie. You don't want to wear a sweater. You don't want to wear a waistcoat. You don't want to wear a lot of things. But I usually like wearing layers. Like, if I'm going to dress tidy to go somewhere, I might do, like, a t-shirt underneath and a shirt on top, you know? If I'm dressing, like, formal, you know, I want shirt, tie, jacket, waistcoat, everything, you know? And, the problem is that when the temperature is hot, you can't do that. It's not fun. It's very constrictive, very sweaty. I don't like it at all. But in the cold, you can dress up as much as you like, and it doesn't get like that. So I always used to like wearing turtlenecks and long coats, you know? That was me. I like my long trench coats, you know? I've got a couple of leather jackets. Oh, I say leather jackets, they're not leather. I've got a couple of pleather jackets, and I can only wear them for like 2 months of the year. Even now it's too hot to wear a jacket. Because it's so humid here that if you wear a jacket over the top, it still gets too hot too quickly. It gets really sticky and horrible. So the thing that I love about cold weather is just that I can dress how I like to dress. I like to dress up to the nines, you know? I like to look good occasionally. These days I tend to look more scruffy, I gotta be honest. Pictures of Aneuryn dressed like an anime anti-hero? Yeah, pretty much. Yep. That is absolutely accurate, yeah. I used to have long purple hair. I still have long hair, it's just not purple anymore. But I used to have long purple hair. Black leather jacket. Black polo neck. Or maybe I was wearing a shirt underneath and a waistcoat. Black leather pants. New Rock boots. Do New Rocks even exist anymore? Does anyone actually know what New Rocks is? Yes, they do. Brilliant. Man, New Rocks still exist. Holy crap, the price, though. $550 US. Holy shit. Apparently you can buy New Rock boots on AliExpress, and I don't believe it for 1 second. Ah, I found the ones that I used to have. Hang on. Hang on, I got it. I got a picture. I got a picture right here. I got a picture for you. Pictures. There it is. Oh no, desktop. There we go. So I used to have these boots. But you can see. Oh, it's the wrong place again, isn't it? So, yeah, see these have got like a red flame at the top and red flames on the feet. I used to have these, but with purple flames. And my original ones were actually silver. So I had black boots with silver flames on them. And the second pair I got were purple. They have an official Australian reseller now? Wow, okay. Oh, do you mean Crocs? Or do you mean New Rocks? I imagine you mean Crocs. I can't imagine New Rocks have an official Australian seller. But yeah, those are the shoes I used to wear. If you want to know what Aneuryn used to look like, it was gothed up. Oh, you mean New Rock? Really? They've got an official Australian reseller. Oh, wow. I was refusing to acknowledge Crocs. Oh, I might have to get myself a new pair of New Rocks. Because I always used to love my New Rocks. $300 for this one. Ooh, that's cheaper. Interesting. All right, I'll have to take a look. I'll consider it. I do miss wearing New Rocks. I love the extra height they give me. That's like, that adds an additional inch to me. Actually, these ones, I just realized, these ones are different. These ones have got the extra tall sole. I didn't have the ones with the extra tall sole. I just have the regular sole. It was about an inch thick. So yeah, adds an extra inch to my tiny frame. When you say New Rocks, I'm imagining the pet rock. Oh my goodness. Completely different, I assure you. Kiko sent me a link, apparently. Let's have a look. New Rock boots and shoes in Australia. Authorized seller at great prices. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, they got the ones with the steel heel still. Nice. $400 though. Damn, they're still expensive. Like even now in big 2026, they're still expensive. Oh, they got a bunch of new styles though. I do like some of these new styles. I mean, at $400, you're kind of hoping that they're gonna be $500 for those ones. You're kind of hoping that they're gonna be real leather, you know. They better be real leather or else. Oh my goodness. Oh, some of these are gorgeous. Oh, wow. Some of these are stunning. I was just clicking through the, hang on a second. I can show you exactly what I was clicking through. Hang on. There you go. Yeah, so I was clicking through all the different color schemes, and look at these. Why is that too high? That's weird. Those are stunning. But yeah, I was just clicking through and I got as far as floral, and some of these floral designs, like, look at these. They're like Doc Martens, but instead of them just being Doc Martens, they're actually nice. Not that I would wear the ruby red slippers, to be fair. But those are quite nice. They come in purple. It looks like they only come in red. Hey, Hellfire and Xander, welcome to the stream. How are you guys doing? You, Hellfire, oi. There's a Scuff Omega controller for PS5 and PC. I don't know what that means. Oh, look at those. Camo version of the boots I used to wear. See, these ones are exactly the boots I used to wear, right? Oh, again, with that particular sole. It was only about an inch. That was about an inch at the heel. But those are the ones I used to have, except mine weren't in camo, they were in purple. Oh, Scuff is the brand? Oh, okay. I always assume the word Scuff means it's broken or something. Oh my goodness, they do cowboys now as well. Oh, if only Lemmy was still around. God bless him. Those are sexy. But yeah, a little bit of insight into ancient Aneuryn. Oh, hang on. Purple. Hang on. No, those are two. There they are. These ones. Those are the ones I used to have. Those are the ones I used to wear. Actually, mine weren't metallic purple, though. Hang on, that's not quite the right one. It was more like these ones, but it wasn't quite that pink. Okay, yeah, so it was like these. It was like these ones. But it was matte purple. It wasn't like a shiny metallic purple. Those are the ones I used to wear. Scuffs and Aneuryn's boots. You stay away from my boots. I'll have you. Alright. This is cool. This is really cool. I didn't know that there was a new seller in Australia. I may have to get myself a new pair of boots. These things lasted me for ages. Like, at least 10 years. From when I bought them. And then the second pair lasted me the same length of time. The only reason I don't have them anymore is because one pair of boots, the first pair of boots, started to fall apart. And I took them to a cobbler, and the cobbler threw them out. So that was something that I was very angry about. And never really went back and got more after that. But I was really pissed off by that one. They're expensive. It's like buying 2 Switch 2s. Not worth it. Oh, really? Hang on. Let me look it up. Scuff controller. Scuff gaming. Oh, hello. These side buttons are pretty cool. Hang on. Let me think. Oh, that's... No, actually, change my mind. Those side buttons, it would be way too easy to hit. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Go away. What's with all the pop-ups? Oh, wow. That's actually a nice color, though. Oh, they got some nice designs. I mean, that's not the important part of a controller, but yeah. Alright, so we got... You got all the usual buttons. I don't like that setup. That's the, hang on. I don't like this setup. I don't like the way the D-pad works. It's on a rocker rather than... it's like on a full circular rocker. I know it's like, that's what the original Xbox controller has. But I've got an Xbox Elite, and you can change this for a proper D-pad, which I did immediately. So, not a fan of the rocker that they've got there. Right, trim this down a bit. There we go. That's better. There we go. It's got the back buttons. It's got... Okay, so it's got a back button, L and R back button, and L and R paddles. And it's also got trigger shorteners, which is always a fun thing to include. The Xbox Elite also has trigger shorteners, which I like. I don't use them all the time, but basically what the trigger shorteners do is that it basically turns off the analog portion of the controller and turns it into just a clicky button. So if you don't want analog for whatever reason, you can just use it as a clicky button. So say now your game doesn't support analog triggers, clicky button. Oh, that's even better. Okay, so this one doesn't actually have the button on the side, but it does have these nifty little, little front buttons. They look like scrollers. They look like scroll wheels. That's interesting. I don't know what those are for. Yeah, I'll leave that there so I can see it. Which one are we looking at right now? This is the Scuff Valor. So let's have a look at the Valor Pro. The Valor Pro is $200. It's not that expensive. The side button is mappable. Okay. I don't know about the side button though. I'm not... Oh, they are scrolls. Oh my goodness, they are little scroll wheels, look. Okay, that's really interesting. That's a really cool feature. I like that. Yeah, I really like the little scroll wheels on there. That's awesome. One of the things that was in one of the old NX documents that released, and this is a patent that Nintendo actually owns, They had a so they got a patent that is registered for scroll wheels for the L and R buttons. Like, you could still press them like an L and R button, but they're also scroll wheels. And that is a really cool feature. That's something that I wish that they'd included, but unfortunately they decided not to go with that design. I do like this design though. I like that. That's a really cool. Could you guess that I like the pink one? Click on the PlayStation one. All right. The Omega. That's the one that you were talking about. $230 or $240. And I think that's American. It's probably American dollars. That's pretty pricey. Oh, it says EU. Hang on a minute. Oh. Oh, those are euros. Oh my goodness, those are in euros. Oh my goodness, that's in euros. Okay. Hang on, let me convert that. 240 euros to US dollars is $280 US dollars. 280 US dollars and 388 Australian dollars. Holy crap, that's expensive. Okay, now we're getting into a price range that I'm not too fussed on. And I gotta be honest, I liked the little scroll wheels that the Xbox had across the bottom. And I like these media buttons. Media buttons, really cool. I like media buttons. That's fine. I'm not too sure about these buttons on the side though. Those buttons, they look like they're in the right place to accidentally hit them all the time. Like, when I look at the way I hold a controller, my hands would be covering those buttons. So I'd have to be like hovering my hands off the controller. Then I haven't got a proper grip. That doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like I could drop my controller at any time. No, I don't like that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the buttons on the side. I like the paddles on the back though. I think more controllers need the paddles on the back. The Xbox Elite is a fantastic controller. I love this controller so much. It's such a good controller. I've got the Xbox I used to have the Xbox Elite, and I've now got the Elite 2. And Kiko also has the Elite 2. We use that for PC gaming more than anything. We used to use it for Elite Dangerous because the flappy paddles on the back were really good for assigning to functions in your ship. So yeah, the Elite 2 was a really good purchase. Definitely high value purchase. I don't know about this one though. I really don't like. It's really expensive. I would assume that it's expensive for a reason, but I don't like that button. I don't like that button. Seems to be out of place. You can map the back, but oh, I assumed that you can. Yeah. For the most part, though, so the back buttons, if you're going to be using this on PlayStation, you're only going to be able to map those with face buttons. So you can only map the circle, square, X, triangle to these. If you use it on PC, you can map pretty much any function to it. So that makes them really good for PC gaming controllers, but not necessarily very good for console gaming controllers. Like, it's the same with the Xbox one, the Xbox Elite 2. You can only map face buttons to the back. Hey, Kano, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Paddles on the back is wild. Oh, get your mind out of the gutter. Good grief. Oh my goodness. Very lovely. So yeah, not a big fan of the price. Not a big fan of these side buttons. It's yeah, this one's really expensive. I'm word sensitive. Oh my goodness. No. I too will now eat. I don't mind the other ones though. Like, looking at these other controllers, the Valor, the Xbox Valor looks really cool. This one might be really good for PC gaming, especially with these little scroll wheels. I really like the scroll wheels. That's freaking awesome. More controllers need to have scroll wheels. So one of the things that is really easy to use with PC gaming is scroll wheels. Imagine playing, let's say for example, Monster Hunter, right? When you're playing Monster Hunter, usually when you're, you've got like an Xbox controller or something, to go back and forth through the items menu, you gotta use the D-pad. So you either have to stand still and take your thumb off of the left control stick, which of course is movement, just to be able to go back and forth through the items menu, or you reach your right thumb across to the D-pad to be able to go back and forth through the items menu while you're moving around. You can't do that on the Switch. That is one of the things that one of the things I do like about Monster Hunter is that you can map moving back and forth through the item menu to holding L and pressing X. Sorry, it's not X, is it? On holding L and pressing Y and A to go back and forth. And that allows you to go, you know, go through the menu without having to take your thumb off the control stick. But having scroll wheels to be able to scroll through item menus, yes, this needs to be a more common thing. Can we get scroll wheels, please? Scroll wheels are a great idea. And this is what I was saying. I really thought that scroll wheels for L and R buttons would make for amazing L and R buttons. A new gimmick, a new feature for the Switch too. Oh, for the Nintendo Switch at the time. But they never implemented it, and I was so sad. That was something I was really looking forward to. I do like their options here. That's nice. Actually, that's a little bit tacky. This one's nice. You like that gold premium look? I like that one. What's this one? Oh, I kind of like that too, actually. I think I prefer this one. But that's nice. I like the Galaxy one too. Or Nebula, I guess. But no, I like that one. That's really sick. I don't like the D-pad though. I don't like that style of D-pad. It's not for me. Great case. Shame about the D-pad. Interesting. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? Oh, Kiko is asking how much was the Steam controller for comparison. She just checked. It was $100. Xander says in Philippine pesos, it'll be 15,000. Oh, let me pull that up. Let me get you an exact amount. So the controller we were looking at was 240 euros, which is kind of insane, honestly. Philippine pesos, 17,000. 17,337 Philippine pesos. That's a direct conversion. 17,337. Good lord, that's going to be pricey. That's a lot. That's a lot. One of the other things to understand as well when you're looking at conversion rates is that while conversion rates are supposed to be based on the value of the currency, it's not a one-to-one comparison because it's kind of averaged. So you could say that $1 Australian is worth 50 cents American. It's not quite that bad. But you could say if $1 Australian is equal in value, supposedly, to to 50 cents in American dollars. Let's make that easier. $1 American is $2 Australian, just for the sake of argument. That doesn't necessarily mean that what you can buy for $1 is what you can buy for $2 in Australia. It doesn't unfortunately work that way because there's other costs that go into it, different taxes, different values, the way that certain groups of consumer goods are valued differently in different places. Like, for example, when I first moved out to Australia, we were paying $370 Australian per week for the house that we lived in. My sister, at the same time, was living in the UK, and she was spending £370 per week on the house that she was living in, which was essentially double. You know, at that time it was £1 to £1 to $2 Australian dollars. So she was spending a lot more on rent. However, she was spending about half as much on groceries. And that's because the food prices in the UK are significantly cheaper than what they are in Australia. So for us, the housing market is... I mean, the housing market has turned into absolute slop out here as well. But the housing market out here in Australia hasn't been... was a lot better than it was in the UK. But the price of food was significantly worse out here than it was in the UK. So when you look at the actual conversion rate, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can buy something one for one. So one of the things that is something to consider. So when you look at a price like that and you see 240 euros for is equivalent to 17,300 Philippines pesos, you also need to take into consideration, and I'm not talking to Xander will already know this, that 17,000 pesos is a lot, you know? And 17,000 pesos is probably a lot more than what we would consider 240 euros to be. So, yeah. I think one of the examples for that is, you know, you go to Brazil, for example. So if you take your Australian dollars and you go to Brazil, your Australian dollar, sorry, no, take your American dollars and go to Brazil. You will be able to afford food, rent, because you're going to be a rich man, essentially, if you take your American dollars to Brazil. You're going to be incredibly rich. But you still might not be able to afford to buy video games because they're taxed into oblivion. Hey, Shiny, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Instructions unclear. My teapot is cracked now. Doesn't seem like my problem. But that's gonna... Well, no, that's not the meme. The meme was... But that's got nothing to do with me. Welcome to the stream, Shiny. How you doing? What operation are you running, Shiny? I know, right? Shiny's teapot's full of crack. Oh, he did a teapot roll. Of course, the title of today's stream. I forgot about that. Yeah. Alright, understandable. Have a nice day. Do a teapot roll. It just doesn't have the same ring to it, does it? Opium? Opium? Give you an appropriate meme in DM. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Kiko has sent me a thing. But that's none of my business. Exactly, yes. That... Hang on. Hang on. I got it. 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 I got... No, I don't got it. I don't got it. I don't got it. Oh my goodness. That one. You sleepy, hoping some morning tea will wake you up? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I needed that today as well. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm doing a talking tea today because I slept well last night. Man, I had some dreams last night. It was wild. It was really strange. Some really crazy dreams. I had dreams within dreams. Like I was dreaming that I went to bed and I was having dreams inside my dream. We have to go deeper, guys. We have to go deeper. It was a wild night, and despite the fact that I slept pretty solidly. I went to bed around 3 a.m. and I slept until 11. That was pretty solid sleep, but I was so exhausted waking up. I think I was just doing too much in my dreams, you know? I kind of feel like I want to take a nap between now and tonight's stream. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just, when 3 o'clock runs around, I will, I'll end the stream. Because, you know, I have to end the stream at 3. I might take a nap for an hour, honestly, because I feel so tired. A dream within a dream within a dream? Yeah, I need to do that. I need to go deeper. I've got to go deeper. Inception, exactly. That reminds me of how Sona was hiding coke in his stapler. What? What? What's that? What's that a reference to? I don't know what that is. What? A dream, a dream, a dream, a dream, a dream, a dream, and over again. And yeah, we gotta go deeper. It's you know, you haven't played Dispatch. No, I haven't played Dispatch. No, hang on. Let me check that one. Dispatch is the that was the one that was like yellow with blue text, wasn't it? Oh, not yellow blue text. It was a yellow cape. Yeah. I remember seeing a lot of people playing it, but I never played it for myself. Bad Guy was voiced by Most Critical? Really? That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I saw some people were playing it, but I genuinely didn't know what it was. So I was just like, huh, looks interesting. But I don't know, I never really came across my my radar. Oh, and when Shiny says bat guy, he literally means a guy who is a walking, talking bat, by the way. Really interesting character designs. Actually, some really cool character designs. Okay. Well, I might take a look at this at some point. Interesting. Alright. Rob Schneider's the stapler. Full of coke. Okay. And there's another guy voiced by Jacksepticeye. Oh, really? Alright. Oh, I might take a look at that. I had no idea. I knew it was like a superhero game, and that's all I really knew. And it didn't really ping on my radar. I saw a few people playing it. I think Callie played it. That's 𝗂𝗶𝗁𝗵 from Hololive. I'm pretty sure she played it. I never got around to watching it though. And I don't know. How did more people not play this game? How did they suck at marketing so bad? Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I never really saw many people talking about it. I saw, like I said, some of the Hololive members were playing it, and that's basically all I knew. I will mention it now before too late. Dispatch is a Telltale style game. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I don't have a problem with Telltale style games, so long as I know that going into them. Because I've been blindsided by story games before, and feeling like, oh, this is going to be a really cool action game thanks to all the trailers. And then when you actually get into it, it's literally just selecting options from a dialogue tree. And I thought, oh, it's one of those. And all the action scenes that they showed in the trailers were just cutscenes. And it's like, oh my goodness, why? Why would you do that? I will not tolerate MCSM hate. What's that mean? You're gonna have to explain what MCSM is. I don't do well with acronyms. MCSM. Minecraft story mode. Oh, right, okay. Okay. Because I just googled MCSM and the first thing I got was MCSM Theatrical Agency, representing exceptionally gifted actors. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't think anyone mentioned theater actors, but okay, sure thing. Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know what Kano's on about. What the hell is this MC talent management? What I don't care about MCSM. What the hell is this? Minecraft story mode. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Yeah, alright. No, I wanted to play Minecraft story mode, actually. I wasn't sure if I was going to play it on stream. I do have a little bit of a thing about playing games like that on stream. I don't necessarily want to play games that is purely story and then spoil the story, you know? It's the same reason that I don't play puzzle games. Like, I'll play a Legend of Zelda game because the way that you approach Legend of Zelda, you might do things in a different order to me. A lot of the games, like if you play Breath of the Wild, for example, you could watch me playing Breath of the Wild, and then you play Breath of the Wild, and you do it in a completely different order. So you might remember some of the puzzles that I do, but you won't necessarily remember everything, you know? So, but obviously going back to like Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time, I think everyone's played those games, really, and anyone who hasn't by now probably won't. So I don't think it's necessarily a big deal if I spoil it in a particular order, but that's the thing, is like, I try to avoid story games because I want people to experience the story for themselves, and I don't play puzzle games, like pure puzzle games, like Captain Toad, for example. I'll never play Captain Toad on stream. One of my favorite games of the Wii U. And yet I will never play it on stream because I want people to play it and be able to experience it and enjoy it for themselves. And, you know, the enjoyment of the puzzle is figuring it out. So if I was to play a puzzle game on stream, I feel like that would be a massive spoiler, even if it was something that you decide, oh, do you know what, I'm going to stop playing this, and sorry, I'm going to stop watching this because I want to play it for myself. You're still going to have that early game lack of aha moment, and sometimes that's all it takes for you to put a game down. If you don't get that early aha, I figured it out moment, because you already know what the early puzzle, how to solve the early puzzles, I think that's, you know, that leads to a lot of people putting the game down and never coming back to it. So that's why I try to avoid pure story and pure puzzle. I'm playing Minecraft right now and I'm watching you in the other monitor, so I'm multitasking. Nice, thank you. Thank you for watching. Better than Minecraft Dungeons for sure. I wanted to play Dungeons. I was really looking forward to Dungeons. I ended up buying Dungeons because I figured, hey, this is going to be Diablo with a Minecraft skin. It wasn't. Also, I just the worst part about Minecraft Dungeons, in my opinion, is that there's so much that they introduce into Minecraft Dungeons that they've already said, that Jeb has already said, I will never put into the mainline Minecraft. Why? Why? These are good ideas. Like the redstone golem. I love the redstone golem. Where is it? Why isn't it in main Minecraft? And don't turn around and say, oh, well, you can mod it in. Someone's already made a mod for it. Okay. But it's not Minecraft then, is it? It's mods. Ah, see, I knew someone was going to say modding. No. I think it needs to be supported by the actual creators. I think that there should be room for modding. Absolutely. There should always be room for modding. But I think that it shows a level of care and effort when the staff themselves actually make the game. You know? It's one of the I mean, this has always been the complaint about games like Skyrim, you know? When you actually play Skyrim, I love Skyrim. I want to say that up front. I love Skyrim. But when you play Skyrim, just the basic version of Skyrim, no mods, nothing, it gets boring. It does. It's not a good game. It is buggy as hell. It's got so many problems. And then the modders have to come in and fix it. And now don't get me wrong, we live in an environment where Skyrim is the popular modding thing. And people wouldn't have it any other way today. But if The Elder Scrolls 6 does come out and it's a buggy, I mean, look at Starfield. Starfield is bare bones. It's basic. It is boring. It's not very well made. And you know full well that in the back of his head, Todd was thinking, we're going to release this game. We don't have to put any effort in because we know that the fans will mod it. You know that's what he was thinking. And sadly, I feel like that is what's happened with Minecraft as well. I'm not a fan of Mojang. I haven't been a fan of Mojang in a while. And I'm not a fan of Mojang because I feel like they have gotten quite lazy. That they will turn around and they will think of it from the perspective of, we are not going to do this, that, or the other. The fans can do it for themselves. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I think if there's a good feature that a lot of people want that doesn't completely break the system, then they should be looking for ways to improve the game all the time. But these days, they don't do that. Hey Daniel, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Ron said modders did wonders for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this is the thing. Like I said, I think modding should be available for like everything. But that doesn't mean that the actual developers don't have to try, you know? Been gone a little while due to crazy work hours. No worries, bro. No worries. Good to have you back. Have a cup of tea. Sit down. Let's have a chat. Servers like Unstable SMP are popular. Yeah. I've never played on one of those, you know, popular big servers. We've always just done our own Minecraft server. Or we played local games. But, yeah, I know that there's a lot of, like, multiplayer stuff that's incredibly popular now. And, you know, I'm not taking away from that. Like I said, I think the modders do an amazing job. But they're doing the job that Mojang should have done already. And that sucks. No Man's Sky will always be better than Starfield? 100%. 100%. Even back when, I was going to say even back when Starfield, when No Man's Sky released, it was better. I'm gonna correct myself before I even actually say it. Starfield is not as good as No Man's Sky, and No Man's Sky is really good. It is today. Today, No Man's Sky is incredible. It really is. Phenomenal game. So I'm gonna make text short. I broke my phone. I'm still using a flip phone. I have to use the outside of the phone. Oh, wow. I have to use the outside of the phone and the computer's down. Oh, no. Okay, just been busy with work, doing regularly a rental job and construction on the side. Nice. After work, just been tired. Yeah, understandable. Drink 3 cups of coffee today. Drink my coffee black. Nice. I always used to drink my coffee black. I did. I don't drink coffee anymore because I have enough trouble sleeping as it is. But I always used to prefer my coffee black. When it was done properly. I am actually currently in the market for a drip coffee machine because they can be very difficult to find out here in Australia for some twisted, demented reason. But I would do one of two things. I would either do it made entirely with milk, and by that what I mean is I'd fill a cup with milk, put it in the microwave to get it nice and hot, and then I put the coffee straight into the milk. Or I would have it black. I very rarely ever had coffee made with water with milk in it, like the way I make tea. I've never drunk craft coffee. Craft coffee? What's a craft coffee? I have NMS on Switch, No Man's Sky on Switch and Steam to support Hello Games. You need to stop using acronyms. I can't do acronyms to keep making this incredible game. Absolutely. Yeah, look, I think that we should definitely be supporting Hello Games. They are doing amazing things with No Man's Sky. And I am really, really looking forward to Light No Fire. Light No Fire is gonna be it's gonna be the bomb. It will. It absolutely will be. I think it's basically gonna be the entirety of No Man's Sky with a fantasy skin. And I am down for fantasy No Man's Sky. Okay? Light No Fire, really excited. Really excited for that one. Like high-end dollar beans. I take it black. I had Jamaican coffee. It was $40 a pound once. Oh, a pound once. Okay. For some reason I read that as ounce. For $40 a pound once. That was the best coffee I ever had. I used to work at a coffee roaster. Like, that was one of the jobs I had a long time ago. I was the barista at a coffee roasting place in Cardiff. And they used to roast the coffee on the premises, and it was visible. Like, you could come in and have a cup of coffee and you would see the whole roasting process happening. It was a really cool place. Unfortunately, the owner was an absolute tit. And he basically fired me as soon as he could, because there was a certain term agreement that we had due to the reason why I was there. He tried to stiff me on pay, and then he basically told the employment agency that I was a part of that I'd never turned up for work. So that got me in a lot of trouble with the employment agency. And I had told them, no, I did turn up for work. I've got evidence. I've got receipts. I've got fuel. and they did take my side in the end, but that nearly got me in a lot of trouble with the employment agency that I was a part of, and nearly got me in trouble with the government because I was on job seekers allowance at the time. So yeah, absolute dick. He really was. He was an absolute dick, and he was doing it intentionally to try and, you know, get me in trouble with the agency and with the government. And in the end, we threatened to sue him. And he eventually gave me everything he owed me, and the employment agency was on my side. So in the end, it was all good, but yeah, absolute dick. Absolute dick. Beware of people that are there to exploit the system. And apparently that's what he'd been doing for a while, and that they'd not caught him before, was that he was getting people on a fixed term because of the employment agency. And it was like a 2-week trial period or something. I was there for a month. Actually, I was there for a couple of months. Yeah, I was there for a couple of months. And yeah, it was an absolute shit show. But I learned a lot, you know? It's amazing. You could go to college, you could do some studying in coffee, and I feel like I learned more in the first week than I would have learned at an actual you know, a course. If I had done a course on coffee and being a barista and all that sort of stuff, I learned so much more in the first week of hands-on with a coffee roaster than I would have ever learned elsewhere. So I value that time, despite the fact that it was difficult, obviously, with everything that was going on. The owner was an absolute tool, but you know, I learned a lot, so I'm gonna try and see the silver lining on that one. I don't ever give my bosses any notice. I give them like 2 day notice. They don't ever give me notice when they let me go. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't take my advice. No, I'm not on. That was years ago. That was a long time ago. Man, back when I was young. Yeah, I'm trying to think. That was a long time ago. That was really long ago. And this is the thing, is that I went from working with the coffee roaster to working at Starbucks. And I know that Starbucks has a really bad reputation for some things, and they definitely deserve that bad reputation in some things. But in reality, the coffee that they make, the coffee that they have, provided that you're not having their classic French roast, which I think tastes like burnt coffee, or fair trade. Don't bother with the fair trade either, because fair trade stuff's crap. Starbucks's coffee, like if you buy bags of Starbucks coffee, it's bloody good coffee. And that's because they do actually know what they're doing when it comes to flavor profiles and roasting the beans. The only problem is that the one that you've got that's always on tap is your classic French roast. And French roast is very, very dark. And it can often taste ashy. And it does. I don't like the French roast. I can't stand the French roast. I used to like some of the other stuff that they did, but then they were in a lawsuit with Fairtrade, and Fairtrade made them, basically forced them to stock Fairtrade coffee. And it's like, I can't believe that that's even a thing. How are they allowed to do that? But if you go back through when you go back through like the history and everything, Starbucks actually pays farmers more than fair trade does. Or they did at the time. I don't know if that's still the case. But one of the things that Starbucks also does is that they help fund farms that have gone through catastrophes. Like if they go through, like there's a tornado or a flood or something like that, they will help fund those farms to get them back on their feet, which is something fair trade doesn't do. So, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Starbucks in 2026, but some of the things that I learned about flavor profiling and how to roast their coffee, Starbucks does the same thing as you know, artisanal coffee makers. It's just on a larger scale. In fact, some of their methods are better, and the way that they treat the farmers, at very least in the past, I'm not talking about Starbucks 2026, but at very least at the time when I was working with them, they were the best in the industry when it came to supporting farmers. I don't know what it's like in today. I don't really follow Starbucks news, I gotta be honest. And I'm also not like in deep. I don't get any of the internal information anymore. So, yeah. Back then it was good. Back then Starbucks was actually a really good company. Today, there's a reason that I chose not to go back to them after I moved to Australia. They were doing a bunch of things I didn't agree with. But that's fine. I'm gonna have myself another cup of tea. I do love a good cup of tea. And I think that's one of the other things as well, you know? I like coffee. I really do. But I feel like coffee can be... Actually, speaking of coffee, I can smell coffee. There's bits of coffee in the sugar. Hang on. Oh, yeah. There's still more. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I must have spilled some. I think that coffee can very easily go the wrong direction, you know? I think coffee... I think when it comes to a cup of tea, you've got more flexibility in how you prepare it. Coffee has a very specific way of preparing, and if you don't prepare it that particular way, it can go really bad real quick. Hey, Ghost, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Sorry, just stirring my tea. Coffee talk can start a war zone? Absolutely it can. I've had so many arguments about coffee. Sorry about the tink tink tink. I have to stir my tea. I have sugar in my tea. I'll try to be a little bit quieter. But I'm not going to. I can try to be quieter, but it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I hope it's not too loud, though. This is very high-pitched. Oh. Got a milk dribble. Got a milk dribble. Ladies, gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? We are suffering from a case of milk dribble. You like Earl Grey and oolong? I like Earl Grey. I've got a tin of Earl Grey from Harrods, which is quite expensive. It's very nice. My favorite... Okay, look. Don't tell them I said this, all right? You gotta promise me. Don't tell them I said this. But I really like French Earl Grey. Just don't let them know, okay? Don't let them know that I said that. I really like French Earl Grey. French Earl Grey is phenomenal. It's like one of my favorite teas. But don't tell them. Don't tell them I said that. I don't want them thinking that I like them. One day I'm gonna get in trouble for that. My favorite teas. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Smoky Russian Caravan. I haven't had it in a long time, and Lapsang Souchong. Lapsang is probably one of my favorites. I really got into Smoky Russian, and that was like my favorite for a long time. And then I remember someone talking about it was like a joke from like a TV show in the 80s, and I just remembered someone making fun of the it was an advert on television, and it was someone pretending to be hoity-toity, and they were like, "Do you have any Lapsang Souchong?" You know, it's kind of like, do you remember the line from Wayne's World where, "Pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon?" You know, that was from Wayne's World. But there was one like that in the UK, which was an advert for, it was like something along the lines of, it was low price premium experience is what they were advertising. So they had these people, they looked like they were ratty, dull bludgers, you know, really down and out poor people with like bad teeth and everything like that. And they were going around trying on like diamond earrings and stuff like that, and they went into a store and they were like, "Do you have any Lapsang Souchong?" You know, trying to make it look like, oh look, even you can feel like you're rich. I think it might have been a bank even. Amazing what you could get away with in the 80s with television advertising. But yeah, it was supposed to show these like down and outers can feel like they're rich with this new bank account. And I always remembered Lapsang Souchong. And when we used to go to a tea place in the city. It was a lovely little tea shop where I started buying Russian Caravan. I tried it and it was like, that's really nice. It's really smoky. I like it. And I remember going in there one time and I was, I got my usual. I got my Russian Caravan, my small pot of Russian Caravan with an English muffin with jam and cream, and it was delicious. And I remember when I was there, I was gonna pick up another bag of Russian Caravan, and I noticed the tins with the loose leaf tea was separated not by alphabetical order. It was it was a giant scone. Sorry, yeah, it was a massive scone, not an English muffin. My bad. So the tea was organized by flavor profile, not by alphabetical order. And so I looked at Russian Caravan, and the one next to it was Lapsang Souchong, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to try that. So I tried Lapsang for the first time, and it's like Russian Caravan, but even more smoky, and I fell in love with it. It was so good. Unfortunately, the tea shop we used to go to in the city closed down. And they have places everywhere that you can buy the tea, but sadly nowhere that you can go and sit down and have a scone and a cup of tea. Unfortunately, that's gone. They don't do that anymore. Which is really sad, because that was one of the highlights of going to the city. I don't like going to the city. I go to the city for a few things in particular. I go to the city if I want to go to the markets, because the markets are really good. They used to do Wednesday markets for just regular folks coming along and selling random things. So we used to go down in the middle of the week. And we used to go to, like, they used to have a big EB Games. So there's a lot of gaming stuff down there. They've got like 2 or 3 JB Hi-Fis. Why do you need 3 JB Hi-Fis? I don't know. They all sell the same stuff. But, you know, at very least I could check all 3 of them and see if there was a game or something I wanted. So we'd go to JB Hi-Fi, we'd go check out the games, EB Games. There was a cool retro store that sold records and old memorabilia, which I like to go see. We used to go to the comic book shop because I was still reading comic books back then. Unfortunately, there was a manga shop in the city as well, but we didn't go there as often, and it closed down, which really sucks. So I wasn't able to get manga anymore. But we would go and we'd sit and we'd have a cup of tea. Like that was kind of the thing. We'd go there, a group of us, myself, Kiko, Plague Doc, and some other friends. We'd take everyone. We'd go. There's like sometimes a group of just 3 or 4 of us. Sometimes a group of 7 or 8. And we would just hang out in the tea shop, and that was the thing that we did, and it was a great time. But I kind of get the feeling that we were the only ones doing that, you know? And unfortunately, the shop closed down. But that was one of the highlights of my week back then. Was going to the tea shop in the city. I used to go to Utah, to this place called Cozy. And they had scones, and they had honey butter stuff, and it was like sugary as all get out, and just amazing on scones. I wish they were still open. Yeah, it's a shame, like so many little boutiques have closed. Yeah, absolutely. It's such a shame that they've closed. The benefit of shift work? Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, absolutely. Is that, yeah, at the time, both Kiko and I were on shift work. So we had the time to go down to the city in the middle of the week. I don't like going to the city on weekends. It is so packed full of people. Now, I'm not agoraphobic, and I've said before, I don't really have anxiety around people. I don't have like a fear or a dislike, well, maybe not that last one. I don't have a fear of people. I just don't like crowds, you know? It's not like, I can go into a crowd if I have to, but for the most part, I prefer not to. I used to go to a Native American reservation and get tacos made by the Native American Indians. Nice. That sounds awesome, actually. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a good thing. I'd love to go and try, like, traditional, American food. Like, traditional Native American food, I mean. I've had a lot of Mexican food. I love Mexican food. But I've never had, like, traditional Native American food. And I would love to try some. I really would. I've seen some of the stuff that they do. And, like, I watch a lot of culture stuff on YouTube. And I've been watching a lot of Navajo stuff. And, yeah, some of the food that they have is just... looks really good. Working casual is less security, but the trade-off is having midweek days off and higher hourly rate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing that really kept us going at that time. Was the fact that we were both working. We were both working shifts. And so we had a lot of money coming in, you know? We probably still have more money coming in now than we did back then, to be fair. But, yeah, we probably have more money coming in now than we did back then. But, things were cheaper back then, too. We always felt like we had money in our pocket that we could spend, which has changed dramatically in recent years. Yeah, it's just the expenses. Like, everything is more expensive. Like I said, at the time we were living in a house which was $370 for the whole house. Like, that wasn't just our share. When we first moved into this house, it was $370 a week. Australian dollars. Which was amazing, you know? For the area we were in, that was ridiculously cheap compared to what it is now. The house that we're currently in is like $750 per week. So, yeah. That's more than doubled. Now, the house is significantly larger, I will say that, you know. But, the house that we used to live in is probably around 550, if not higher. The apartment we were living in, we were in a 2-bedroom apartment, which was getting way too expensive. Same number of bedrooms, just bigger storage. Let's see now. So I would say that probably the I'd say that the old house was bigger. Oh wait, no, bigger storage. Yeah. So the house that we're in has a downstairs as well. That's the difference. We have a downstairs as well. The original house, I would say, comparing the top floor of this house with the house that we used to live in, I think that house was bigger. Oh, wait, no, hang on. Roughly the same. I would say roughly the same size in square footage, because one of the bedrooms was significantly smaller than what we've got here. So, maybe it evens out. Not sure. I didn't measure. But either way, yeah, it was just, you know, things have changed. The world has changed. Taxes have gone up. Inflation has gone up by a huge margin. It's hard to find a job for a lot of people. It's really sad. But you know, I'm here. I'm doing this, and hopefully streaming will become a thing. Hopefully I can actually turn this into a career. I'm not making any promises. At very least, right now, streaming is keeping me busy. But I do have hope that in the future I might be able to, you know, actually be able to make a decent living on YouTube. But oh, damn it. And we're back. Okay, cool. It's not something you can, you know, openly rely on, because YouTube is, you know, you're at the whims of YouTube. But, yeah. I think we can, I think it's something we can at very least turn into a bit of a hobby, you know, a monetized hobby, something that is actually helping out, if not being a major source of income, you know? Yeah, exactly, Kiko. Yeah, take it as a reminder. Just be happy with what you've got. Because you never know. And, you know, you've probably heard the classic story. Make me a ring. Or make me a ring with an inscription that in times of sadness will make me happy, and in times of happiness will make me sad. And the inscription simply read, "This too shall pass." And so just remember, what we've got right now may not be here forever. Most likely will not be here forever, but we can enjoy it while it lasts. And I think that's, if I was to be completely grounded in reality, I think that's true of streaming as well. Let's enjoy it while it lasts. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep doing this forever. I would like to. I'd like to keep doing this forever, because at the end of the day, streaming is one of those things that I do it from home, you know? I don't have to go out. I'm not worried about transport or being hired by someone, or, you know, being fired or being forced into retirement or anything like that. It's something I can do from home. And if at some point in the future I decide, you know what, this is getting a bit too hard for me to do, then I can reduce the number of times I stream per week, you know? And when I reduce the number of times I stream per week, we can play different kinds of games. You know, if I'm not able to keep up anymore with action games, we can go back to playing more JRPGs. There's always more things to do, more flexibility. We could just have conversations like this. So it is something that I would like to be able to say that I would like to do forever. But, I can't make that promise, you know, because something might happen. Something might come up, and on that day I might not be here anymore. Not necessarily saying that I'll be dead. What I mean is, like, I might not have this platform to stream on in the future, you know? We don't know what the future holds. So, yeah, it is a good reminder to always be thankful for what you do have. But at the same time, that also means, you know, be realistic about it. Be honest. If things aren't great, there's no shame in saying, hey, you know what? Things are kind of shit right now. I think it's better to be honest. It's better to be honest and say, hey, look, I'm not having a good time of it. I'm having some difficulties. I don't really, maybe you don't want to talk about it, that's fine too, but at the end of the day, let's at very least say, hey, look, I'm not having a good time of it. And then, you know, things can change, you know? The first step to fixing a problem is admitting that one exists. I don't think there's any shame in it. I really don't think there's any shame in admitting when we're having trouble. Because we all have trouble from time to time. Sometimes just sitting down with a cup of tea and having a chat is sometimes all we need, but not always. But yeah. Hey, thanks. Listening to you can be kind of therapeutic in a good way. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Daniel. Same to you. Yeah, I mean, like, I make this as a joke quite often, but the truth is, like, you guys are my therapy too. Like, being able to chat with you, to talk about my problems. Hopefully I can help you with your problems by talking about my problems. Who knows? You know, miracles happen sometimes. But even if that doesn't happen, you know, I get to bitch and complain, and that means that I get to air my dirty laundry. But I'm glad that you like just hanging out and chatting and, you know, having a chill time of it. I think that's important too. It's always important to be honest, but it's also really important to just have a chill time occasionally. Just have a moment of, all right, right now I'm not doing anything. And I kind of, I do try to approach these streams, specifically the talk and tea, with that kind of mindset. I try not to go into it with something in mind. Oh, I have to talk about this. Every time I've tried doing that, it has failed miserably. Like, when we did the Super Mario Galaxy movie stream, after about 40 minutes, everyone was gone. There was literally one person in chat, and that was Kiko. And that goes to show that you can't force a conversation. So chatting streams like this are good to just chill and hang out and catch up. And there's always someone around when I do a stream like this, and hopefully you guys can take this as a moment to stop and chill yourselves, you know? Like I said, have a cup of tea, have a chat. Let's go. Let's do it. Troubles can push you forward, but they can also weigh you down. The way we approach our problems can determine how they'll pan out. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to stop and think and consider what your options are. I'll be honest, last night I was having a rough time. After the stream last night. It was nothing to do with the stream. I was just having a rough time mentally last night. And I was contemplating canceling today's stream. This one, specifically this one. But you know, I stopped. I tried to think of different things that I could do. Tried to think of, should I talk about certain things? Should I do this, that, and the other? And my conclusion was, no. No, I just need to sit and chat and let the conversation happen, because otherwise we'll end up doing what we did last time. Because the plan for today was to talk about Star Fox. Because the new Star Fox stuff. But I decided I'm not going to force that agendum. There's only one of them, agendum. I'm not going to force it, so we're just going to have a conversation. Society has pushed the narrative that having problems is a sign of weakness. I think it takes an immense strength to have problems, though. I would agree. I actually do. I think that's absolutely true. I think that there's been a lot of, not just media. It's not just the media. It's wider than that. And I feel like a lot of other, like, media is a big part of it, obviously. But I think the way that culture, the modern culture has evolved is I think we've become more patronizing towards people with problems. So I think once upon a time, admitting that you had any weaknesses was seen as a negative. And that kind of holds over. I don't think that's a new thing. But we have gotten so sensitive, so politically correct, that admitting that you have a problem brings all kinds of other stigma to it instead. Like there was a big thing in the mid-2000s to, well, even into today, where you'd have people on websites like Tumblr that would compete of having the most problems. You know? It's like, oh, but I'm more disabled than you are. Nuh-uh, I'm more disabled. You know? And they weren't really even necessarily having anything wrong with them. They were just making shit up. And I feel like that has really permeated into wider culture in a way, where we have these, what was the word? What was the term they used to use? Oppression Olympics. The Oppression Olympics, you know? I'm worse off in society than you are. And that kind of mentality. And for a lot of normal folks, for normal, average, everyday people, and I don't just mean like neurotypical people who are physically abled, I mean just anyone, like normal people that don't try to compete at how screwed up they are, you know? They look at those people and go, oh my goodness, will you shut up already? But the problem is that when you start faking and you start, you know, inventing new problems to have, even if it turns out that those problems are real, but like significantly, multiple personality schizophrenia. Multiple personality schizophrenia up until like 2019 was actually, no, I wouldn't even say up until 2019. It's still debated. Multiple personality schizophrenia is something that is still debated to this day as to whether or not it is entirely real. But if you go to Tumblr, or if you went to Tumblr in like the mid-2010s, everyone had it. Everybody was a multiple system, as they called it. And you could tell it was obvious that they were making shit up, right? Because they would... the way that they would treat multiple personality schizophrenia would be the way that you would see multiple personality schizophrenia in media, which is not how multiple personality schizophrenia works. Like, they would switch characters and put on voices and stuff like that. That's not how it works. Multiple personality schizophrenia is having multiple people talk in your head at the same time. It is an absolutely terrifying series of hallucinations that is genuinely, you know, mind-breakingly bad. And yet these people on Tumblr were like, oh, I'm a multiple system, and inside my head, I have the... oh, headmates. That was it. Thank you, Kiko. Yeah, headmates. Oh, inside my head, I have got the 10th Doctor, I have got an angel and a werewolf, and they don't like each other. Huh? That's No. That's not how that works. You can't do that. That's no. You know? Oh, and they always used to try to outdo each other. It's like someone's like, oh, but my headmate is the 10th Doctor. And then someone would be like, my headmate is the 10th Doctor and Davros. You can imagine how terrible it is inside my head with those two. And then it was like, oh, well, I've got an angel inside my head. Oh, you've got an angel? I've got a demon. My demon doesn't like your angel. It's like, oh, you've got a demon and an angel? I've got like 3. I've got like a demon, an angel, and a dragon. It's like, oh my goodness, this is so pathetic. You're literally trying to outdo each other about which one of you is the most dumb. That this is a race to the bottom of the barrel, and we're already scraping wood before we even start. And what that has done is it's resulted in a lot of those invented problems being turned into real recognized issues because they've pushed it so far, and because those people that were stupid teenagers on Tumblr back in that era are now doctors, and so they are trying to affirm themselves. Oh, I'm really a dog born in a human body. I think they call them Therians now or something. They give them fancy scientific names. And it's like, no, you weren't a dog born in a human body. What's the matter with you? But these people have grown up to become doctors, and they're like, oh no, this is a real thing now. But it's not. I'm sorry, it never has been. It never will be. You might think you're a furry. You might dress up as one. That's fine. Not my cup of tea, but I've got my cup of tea right here, right? That's not my cup of tea. Doesn't float my lily, but you do you and keep it to yourselves and don't force it on me, and I've got no problems with that, right? But when you come out and you start saying things like, oh yes, Therian types are real, I just have to look at you as like you are the dumbest person in the room. I don't care if you want to act like a dog, do it. But that doesn't mean you actually are a dog. And it's frustrating because a lot of people will look at someone who has got, let's say, dissociative disorder. So dissociative disorder can affect people in lots of different ways. And some people disassociate from themselves so hard that they take on totally different personality traits. And some people will assume that split personality schizophrenia. It's not. That's something else entirely. It's different. Some people will disassociate from themselves so hard that they don't want to identify as human. And so they act like an animal. Right? They act like a dog. They act like a cat because they're disassociating from the human race. That's not the same as Therians. That's not the same as... what did they used to call it? It wasn't furries, it was something else. Furries are the ones that dress up. What do they used to call it? When they used to say that they had an animal soul. I don't remember what the Tumblr word was. Like, Therian is what they call it now, but it used to be called something else. I don't remember what it used to be called. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. But, But anyway, Otherkin. That was it. That was the one. Otherkin. Yes. Thank you, Shiny. That is exactly what it was called. Otherkins. The funny thing is that they try to, like, when you look at the definition of Therian, it says, a Therian, or Therianthrope, is an individual who feels a deep, often involuntary, non-physical identification with a non-human animal. They believe they are, in part, an animal on the inside, a concept known as a stereotype, while acknowledging that they have human bodies. And they say it's an identity, not a choice. Therianthropy is widely viewed as inherent involuntary identity. Come on now. Look, if someone wants to say it's like spiritual or psychological, which it does actually, that's another part of the definition. It says the identity is described as spiritual or psychological. There's a point where I can look at that and go, okay, I can accept that much, right? If someone looks at it as a spiritual identity that they feel like, we were just talking about Native Americans. There's some Native American cultures that believe in spirit guides, and spirit guides will appear in the form, sometimes will appear in the form of an animal. Now, if they identify with that animal and they take that onto themselves, I can see a spiritual connection to the concept of your spirit guide. I can accept that much, right? I can't accept that you were born into the identity of I'm a cat living in a human body. I'm sorry. Like, even Buddhism that has the allowance for reincarnation into a higher order form or lower order form, depending upon how, you know, how you lived your life. You are still born as what you are. The Buddhist teaching doesn't say that you are a cat in a human body. The Buddhist teaching says that you were a cat, your soul was a cat in a past life, but your soul is still your soul, and the soul isn't a cat. The soul is you. You were just born into the body of a cat. Now you're born into the body of a human. You do not carry the traits of a cat into your next life. That's not how that works. That's not what reincarnation is. Like I said, there's some spiritual beliefs where I can understand and accept and say, okay, that makes sense. Like I said, spirit guides, stuff like that. I get it. I understand. I can at the very least accept that from a spiritual perspective. I can't accept it as a non-choice identity. Oh, I was born as a cat. No, you weren't. But getting back to what I was originally saying, the way that we seem to patronize people with actual illnesses these days is that we treat everyone as though they have an illness, or we treat everyone as though everything is always valid all the time, you know? And there are some things that need to be recognized as being an illness, and there are some things that need to be recognized as, okay, this is just an identity, this is a part of who you are, this is how you were born. But we need to be able to draw those lines, because it's not because if we pussyfoot around, then people are not getting the help that they need. And because we pussyfoot around, there are a lot of people not getting the help that they need. That's right. That's where I was getting at with the patronizing thing. People are more likely to say, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, wow, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what you are. All right, understandable. I completely understand and accept you for who you are. When sometimes you need to say, yeah, that's effing mental, mate. No, you need to see a doctor about that. If you genuinely think that, you need to see a doctor. And I don't know, maybe I'm just intolerant to the Therians. I don't know. But it's just one of those things that I find that because there have been so many ridiculous notions coming out, like headmates, and they always have you notice how they never have like a stink bug? Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that the Therians, they're never a stink bug? They're always like a wolf with angel wings, or an eagle, or a dragon, you know, or a cat. They're all the good things. All the lions and panthers and all these sorts of things. All of the powerful, strong, empowering. You never get stink beetle. You never get. Even like cockroach is still above that, you know? Stink bug. Yeah, stink bug. Gonna make a stink bug VTuber. Exactly. No one ever picks stink bug. No one ever sits there sitting to themselves, thinking to myself, I've got the Therian type of an animal, I just don't know what it's called. Because maybe it's an animal that's not been discovered yet. You know? There's no one that turns around and says, "Oh, I've got my Therian type is a rainbow trout. I'm a rainbow trout. That's where I am." It's always the cool animals. And they always have like fantasy elements to them. Like I said, like, "Oh, I'm a wolf with eagle wings." But now you gotta treat that as though it's real. Otherwise you're a bigot. And we pussyfoot around a lot of different things because we have to accept people's identities. Like, people will say, "Oh yeah, I'm schizophrenic." "Oh, shouldn't you be seeing a doctor?" No, I'm okay with being schizophrenic. It's part of my identity. Well, do you remember the woman who identified as blind? There was a woman, she identified as blind. And then she went and blinded herself with bleach. Originally she wasn't blind. She was fine. She had fine eyesight, but she identified as blind. And then because people weren't treating her as blind, because she wasn't, she decided to blind herself. She put bleach in her eyes. Do you know, that sounds like an illness to me. I don't know, I don't think I'm the odd one out here, but that sounds like an illness to me. That sounds like something is wrong with that person. That sounded like someone that could have had the, who may have been saved. That sounds like someone who's blind now. But if they had actually treated her as someone with a mental disorder, someone that had something wrong with them, something that could have been treated, that her blindness could have been prevented. But no, she identified as blind. Therefore she's correct. She is blind. She thinks she's blind, so we have to treat her as though she is. And is bigoted to not treat her as blind. I don't know, this kind of turned into a rant, I'm sorry. But we definitely do treat, we patronize people with illnesses. We do. We absolutely do. We patronize people with illnesses. And that doesn't help them. That doesn't allow them to get better. That just turns them into... That turns you into someone who gets offended at the idea of being cured. In short, it's okay to admit you have a problem, please don't get headmates. Exactly, right, yeah. But, so, yeah, no, that's what I was getting at, is that we patronize a lot of people into believing the things that they think that they are. But then other people that actually have something wrong with them are treated poorly. They're treated poorly because their version isn't as glamorous. I've got insomnia. My entire life I've been treated as lazy. But I'm an insomniac. No, you're just lazy. No, I'm an actual chronic insomniac. I literally do not sleep unless I take medication. Or I get so exhausted my body just stops functioning for a few hours. And that's what I used to do. That's what used to happen. I would get maybe a couple of little naps, maybe a micro sleep, where I'd just like drop off and then wake up again. And that's how I lived for years. And we didn't know, well, I didn't really know that there was a problem. But my entire life I was called lazy. And even now, even though insomnia is recognized as a disability in Australia, you can't get you can get disability benefits for insomnia, but they very rarely award it. And that's what I was told. I said that I've been recognized as having depression and insomnia. And chronic insomnia. I actually need to take medication to sleep, and even then it doesn't necessarily work. And I was told, you'll never get disability benefits for it. And I said to them, hey, but it is recognized, insomnia is recognized as a disability in Australia. And they said, yeah, but it's never awarded. It's not glamorous, it's not interesting. It's not, ooh, that person's really got something wrong with them. You know, it literally prevents me from working. Like, that was one of the benefits I had to working where I was, because Kiko was my boss. And so I could say to her, I haven't slept tonight. I can do the afternoon shift. Can you get someone to replace me in the morning? And she would, because she understood. And the manager, the other manager that we had, he understood as well. He knew that I had issues with sleep. So I was able to get around that by having people who actually understood that I had a problem. They didn't treat me like it was a good thing, though. And I think that's where the difference is treating someone like, oh, that's a positive. You know, it's not my identity. I'm not an insomniac. It doesn't say on my business card, Aneuryn streamer insomniac. You know, that's not who I am. I don't go age, sex, location, insomnia, you know? That's just something I've got to live with. Which is why I say it is a good thing. It is absolutely a good thing to admit that you've got a problem. Because in admitting it, not only to yourself, but to others, you can be helped. People can help you. You can help yourself. People can help you help yourself. But if you don't admit it, or if you don't admit that it's a problem, then you're forever going to be stuck with it. You're never going to improve. You're never going to improve your station. You're never going to be everything that you can be. And I believe that everyone can reach things that they strive for. But I think that a lot of these things are a convenient excuse. It's an excuse because I think a lot of people are afraid to try. I know that was true of myself. I know that I used insomnia, depression, and all kinds of things. My stomach, because I had like the stomach acid issues as well, which I'm still medicated for. I used all of those as excuses why it was okay that I wasn't streaming yet, even though I really, really wanted to. It was okay because I probably wouldn't be able to keep the schedule anyway. Because I am, you know, I wouldn't be able to keep a schedule, so I wouldn't get many followers anyway. Well, it's not a big deal, you know? But finally admitting that I had a problem, finally going to see a doctor, finally getting the medication that I needed, everything changed. And I didn't have an excuse anymore. And I didn't have the convenient safety net of, well, it doesn't matter that I failed because I'm an insomniac and I wasn't keeping my schedule anyway. You know? That's what I mean by a convenient excuse. It's something that allows you to, oh, well, it's not worth me trying in the first place because all of these reasons. Hey Marley, welcome to the stream. How you doing today? So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to admit that you have a problem. And don't let anyone tell you that it's not. But at the same time, don't let anyone tell you that it's not a problem if it is negatively affecting you. You can do it. You can overcome anything that you put your mind to. Except for diabetes. Insulin is probably better. Insulin is definitely better than putting your mind to it, to be honest. AIDS is difficult as well. You know, it's if you got full-blown AIDS, maybe antiretrovirals is probably a good thing. Yeah. But most of anything else you can overcome, right? I need to refill my tea. Not because it's empty, but because it's gone cold. Hang on, let's have another one. Let's have another one. We'll have a third cup. Oh, that is the end of the teapot. I've been overfilling the teapot recently, which is obviously not a good thing. I've been finishing these streams with like loads of tea left, and I'm like, probably didn't need that much. But I've got a bigger mug today. I've got a bigger mug today, and I've got less water in the teapot, which means that it means that it only filled 3 pots. Yeah, 3 cups, I mean. No, the teapot is I think it's like a 1.3 liter teapot. It's a decent sized teapot. But I've got really big mug. There goes the VOD. I'll tell you what, if I was gonna be hiding the VOD, it would be because of the scary Astharians coming after me. So the model's mug is not accurate. That really depends. I mean, compared to the size of my chest, yes. Compared to the size of my hands and head, no. Not sure how big this mug is in terms of ounces. I think it's a 12-ounce mug. Or is that like a regular mug? So a regular mug is between 8 and 9 ounces. And the one which I've got, I think, is a 12. Oh, hang on. Is it 16? It's a 15-ounce mug. It is, yeah, it's a 15-ounce mug. So that is just a little bit bigger than the size of a can of Coke. Let's see if I can actually find my mug. The mug I've actually got. Right, okay. Okay, so a regular drinking mug is 11 ounces, apparently. And the one which I've got is bigger. Yeah, it's 16 ounce. I found it. I found it on Tokyo Taco mode. This is actually the mug that I'm using. Sorry, I got distracted. There you go. That is actually the link to the mug that I'm using. I'm not drawing a different mug for everyone in our cupboard. No, that would be a bit much. I would like to... I was thinking about this before. I've been thinking about the possibility of maybe programming my own PNG tuber setup. And the goal for that is to have lots of interchangeable assets, like the ability to swap out the logo that's on my sweater, or to swap out what's on the mug, or to swap out hairstyles. Something which you can't really do with a lot of regular PNG tuber systems, because they require a lot more effort to be able to change something like that. But and you can't put, like, I can't put a hat on this, right? Kiko has, if I wanted to put a hat on, Kiko has to draw a hat, and then I have to attach it to the model, and then I have to put the model into the PNG tuber system that I'm using. It's not very convenient to be able to make simple asset adjustments, annoyingly. But one of the things I've been thinking about is, if I was to program my own, I could set it up in such a way that I would be able to quick swap certain assets. And I thought, hey, that sounds like a really good idea. I might want to try that. But that does require me to actually try that. And I am nowhere near in a position right now where I could focus on doing that as like as a thing that I'm working on, because I'm working on so many other things right now, you know, as it is. I'm working on doing some slight updates to the overlays, which I was hoping would be ready for July, but it probably won't be at this point. Kiko is still working on other artwork, which hasn't been finished yet, and that might end up being delayed. There's a lot of... We've had to do a bunch of little changes as well. So, yeah. I think that the July update is going to end up being delayed. I don't know how long, but it is probably going to be delayed. But once I do get the whole update done, and I've got nothing else to work on, we've got the overlays, we've got the character art, we've got everything that needs to be done. Who knows? Maybe I will work on my own PNG tuber avatar program. Apparently, it's not that difficult to do. It's not necessarily the functionality. Functionality is pretty easy. It just needs to recognize if there's sound coming in from a particular source, and if it recognizes that there's sound, if it can detect sound, then it switches the image from one image to another. There you go. That's really easy. That's actually, even I could probably do that, even though I don't have a lot of programming knowledge in something like C++ or any other kind of you know, programming language for making applications. I could definitely do it in PHP. I know exactly how to do it for PHP. It does require a couple of plugins, but I could do it for PHP. I could probably do it for Java. It would take me a little bit longer because I don't really know Java too well. But, yeah. It's something I feel like I could do in the future. And that would be fun. That would be a cool project. But we'll see. We'll see where, like, the application I'm currently using, they're currently working on making it better. So, and there's going to be, like, a premium version of it. So, I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of interested in seeing where that goes. Like, the full version of it. But, I'm not entirely convinced at the moment. Let's just say that. Let's just say I'm not entirely convinced at the moment. Oh, Marley, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate that. Oh. That noise then was my throat. I was stretching and my throat went gurgle. That was definitely not a fart. I assure you, it was not. So it's 2:38. We got about 20 minutes left of this stream. And then I think I'm gonna do, like I said, and take a nap. Because I am exhausted. I'm so tired today. But we will be back later at 6 p.m. for Monster Hunter Stories. And hopefully we'll actually beat the 𝗬𝗁𝗁𝗁 this time, because in the last episode, it was just like 5 hours of getting my ass handed to me. That was awful. It was a terrible stream. I wanted to delete it, honestly, but I figured, you know what? No, that's a part of the experience as well. So I don't want to mislead people. I don't want people thinking like, oh, this is an absolutely perfect game. I think this fight is absolutely atrocious. And we're now currently... Oh, I've been grinding up some monsters to be able to fight the 𝗬𝗁𝗁𝗁. There's one thing that I noticed, actually. I might talk about this more during the Monster Hunter stream, but there's one thing that I noticed about the way that Monster Hunter handles monster swapping is that you go into a fight, right? You've got 6 monsters in your team, and then your partner, in my case, Cora, for the most part, has got 1 monster, right? So because she never swaps out her monster, her kinship gauge is always going up. But because I swap my monsters per what is necessary, like, you kind of need to do it to do the what's it called, the rock paper scissors aspect. So you need to be able to switch your monsters in and out. But because you switch your monsters in and out, your kinship gauge goes back down to 0. So despite the fact that it tells you you should be raising your kinship gauge, there's actually a reason to not like a big part of the gameplay resets your kinship gauge, or not resets it. Like, if you bring that other monster back out, the kinship gauge will still be full. But like, if you're playing with Ratha, right? Your main monster, your Rathalos. There is so much wrong with Ratha, right? It's crazy. There's actually so much wrong. Maybe it's something that I haven't figured out yet, but currently, Ratha cannot leave my party. But Ratha is a C rank. Like, he doesn't have any S rank genes or abilities. So every other monster is actually stronger than Ratha. And so I can't have Ratha leave my party to do other things. So I can't make him stronger. This is what I refer to as dissonant game design, where two different systems don't collaborate. They're against each other. And it's the same with the kinship gauge. Because you obviously want to raise the kinship gauge to be able to use your big kinship attacks, you don't want to swap out monsters. But you have to swap out monsters to be able to do the rock, paper, scissors. So your partner, like I said, in my case, Cora, mostly it's been Cora and Eleanor. I've sometimes had Thea, and I've tried Ogden as well. Ogden's really fun. He's good with traps. But like, I mostly use Cora. But because she's only got one monster and she never swaps it out, she always gets her kinship gauge full before I do. So I feel like I'm not contributing as much to the fight, because she always uses the big attack first and inevitably kills the monster. It's weird. It's got this weird sense of, well, that feels like it shouldn't work that way. And that's what I call dissonant game design. Yeah, even some games have that level of fight where it bogs it, even your favorite games. Exactly, yeah. Given how far into the game you are now, do you want me to tell you how to raise Ratha's... Please! I didn't know that I even could. It's not been explained. If I can, I'm going to do that before tonight's stream. Okay, see, now I didn't know that I could send Ratha on excursions because I can't have him leave the party. I was under the impression you couldn't send him on excursions. Oh, well, there we go then. So I can have him leave the party, but only for the sake of excursions. See what I mean? That's dissonant game design. Excursions has a monster leave your party. And it always tells you, if you try to replace Ratha on your party, that you cannot remove Ratha from your party. So you see how that's dissonant? They don't work together. They're the systems. One system removes a monster from your party. The other system tells you you can't remove Ratha from your party. So why would you think that you could send Ratha on an excursion? Releasing certain monsters into habitats can also affect Ratha. I'm going to assume that means if you collect Rathalos, but I'll have to go deeper into research for the details. Alright, that's fine. I'm going to go and see, between now and when we start playing Monster Hunter Stories at 6 PM, I'm going to see if I can send Ratha on an excursion and see if I can get him to raise his rank. I'm going to have a go, but yeah, not sure. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. What else is there? What else is there to say? Okay, so don't forget, everyone, check out the loading zone. I posted a new loading zone on Monday that's going to be talking about a bunch of news regarding some of the Monster Hunter streams, what we're going to be doing this week, what we're doing next week, and what I'm going to be doing when we come back in 2 weeks' time. Please do check that out. I've started doing question of the week in the loading zone, so please leave a comment answering those questions. I've also put in a poll. I've added a poll to the video, so you should be able to answer on the poll as well. I'm trying to get more activity. I want people to be more active on the streams, not just necessarily in chat, but like commenting. Let's have conversations in the comments. And it's very difficult. I don't know how to encourage you guys to do it. The only thing I can do is just keep asking, keep telling you, hey, this is a thing, check it out, please. So really right now, all I want is for you to check out the loading zone, watch it, understand what's happening, because I do think it's important to know what's going on. The last thing I want is for someone to not watch the loading zone and then complain to me because Monster Hunter is on a different day. You know, that's the whole point. The whole point of having the loading zone is to keep everyone up to date each week with what is happening. But you know, I've already had one person saying, hey, don't you stream on Tuesdays? And like, yeah, I've already explained this. So that's what the loading zone's there for, is to keep you guys up to date. Please do check it out. I've tried to put a little bit more fun into it rather than just a dry news segment. I try to get through the news as quickly as possible. And I try to keep the videos under around 10 minutes. I want to keep them, at some point, we might expand on what is in the loading zone. But I will still try to keep them under 15 minutes. And depending upon what we've got going on, I would never want the loading zone to be more than 20 minutes. I would like to keep it to around 10 minutes or 15 minutes if possible. Yeah. So do check that out. Like I said, it's coming out every single week. It's going to be on Monday at midday every single week. And that's going to be your contents page for the channel. I'm going to be streaming later today. Hang on, do I have a schedule screen here? I don't remember. I do have a schedule screen. Amazing. I'm going to be streaming later today at 6 p.m. We're going to be playing Monster Hunter Stories 3, like I just mentioned. Tomorrow is going to be my regular day off, and then on Friday, depending upon whether or not we finish Monster Hunter Stories 3 tonight. If we finish Monster Hunter Stories 3 tonight, on Friday, I'm going to play Caverns of Mars. If I don't finish Monster Hunter Stories 3 tonight, we'll finish it on Friday. Lastly, on Saturday, there's going to be a Talking Tea with Aneuryn, but it's going to be an evening stream. We're going to do an evening stream. Actually, that might not even be Talking Tea with Aneuryn. That could end up being a community hangout. And what's the difference, Aneuryn, between a community hangout and Talking Tea? A community hangout is going to be me and Kiko. So, I don't know what that's going to be on Saturday, but it might just be me and Kiko for the Saturday chatting stream. And that will then end us off for this week. And that'll be it. And I'll be taking a break next week, so that's the reason why I wanted to end it on like a chatting stream, so that we can talk about the things that are going to be happening between now and 2 weeks time. But that is gonna be it from Talking Tea with Aneuryn. That is it from me for today. Well, for now. I'll be back later. I promise. I think. I do need to, I need to make a couple of little changes here. Like, it's fine having my character at this size when it's just me. Sorry, when it's me and Kiko. But I feel like my character doesn't fill enough of the screen. It's kind of weird. I feel like I'm like standing in the middle of the room, and it looks kind of weird. So I need to like zoom in a little bit, like I did with the loading zone. I'm going to do a couple of little adjustments between now and when we come back in 2 weeks' time. But that's going to be it. I hope you've enjoyed today's stream. I hope you've had a lovely cup of tea. I'm still drinking my 3rd cup. You think this size is fine? I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of empty space. That's all I'll say. It seems like a lot of empty space. I'm sure I'll figure it out. I think it's because of, like I said, when it's you and me, it seems to fill the space just fine, but because it's just me, I seem to be like standing alone. It seems very lonely out here. Thank you for the tea. Give us a vid question. What do you mean? A VOD question? A VOD question? Oh, you put me on the spot now. I don't know. Okay, here we go. All right. Given the things that we've talked about today, here's your little quest for the end of the stream, right? If you could be any animal in the world, what would you be? Leave that in the comments. Tell us why, and then we'll all know that you're a furry. And with that one, I'm gonna say thank you for being here. If you've enjoyed today's stream, please do leave a thumbs up to let YouTube know that you liked it. And if you've really liked it and you'd like to see more from me, you'd like to see me playing some video games, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of when I'm going live next. Don't forget to answer that question. What kind of furry are you? Down in the comments down below. And I will be back later today with Monster Hunter Stories 3. So be good to yourselves, be excellent to each other, play more video games, and until I see you, peace, love, and high scores. See you later, everyone.